Hey, what's up guys, Soldier Knows Best here, and the time has come to put the top two tablets in the game against each other. This is the Blackberry Playbook versus the iPad 2 video. Now I'm going to go over a series of categories here, starting with the design, going to the screen, camera, battery life, price, configuration, browser, applications, and OS. We're going to see which one of these tablets actually outdoes the other one. So let's go ahead and first talk about the design. Now let's first start with the Blackberry Playbook. Now the Playbook is a 7-inch tablet, so it is a smaller form factor than what you'll find with the iPad 2, but that's not actually a bad thing at all. It feels great in your hand. The back of the device has a nice little rubberized type of feel, and since it is 7 inches, it is perfect for typing because either in landscape or portrait mode, your thumbs are always in perfect position to the keyboard. Now also too, you'll find that on the bottom of the device, you'll find the ports for the HDMI out, and also the charging port as well. And at the top, you'll find the volume buttons and also the horrible power button. That's one thing I don't like about the design. The power button on the Playbook, I cannot stress enough, is the worst thing on the device itself. It's just really inexcusable. It has no tactile feedback. You don't really know when you actually press it in all the way and when it actually works. So it just sucks so bad. But another thing I like about the Playbook as far as the design is that they have the speakers on the front of the Playbook, which is nice placement to really get the best type of quality that you can get from the speakers. Now let's head over to the iPad 2. And Apple's always been known for making nice, sleek devices, and they hit it right on the head with the iPad 2. Even though it is a 9.7-inch screen, so it's a bigger form factor than the Playbook, it does remain to be thinner than the Playbook. And on paper, it is heavier, but since the weight is distributed over a bigger surface area, the iPad and the Playbook actually feel about the same weight when you hold them in your hand. Now, all the buttons are laid out very nicely on the iPad 2, especially the power button. I don't have no problem at all with that. But one thing that the Playbook does do better than the iPad as far as the speaker placement, because the iPad 2 speakers are on the back of the device on the bottom left-hand side of it, which it is approved over the first generation, but still, I would love to see that speaker placement somehow on the front of the device similar to the Blackberry Playbook. But overall, when you look at a Playbook or a iPad 2 side by side, you're definitely going to be attracted more to the iPad 2. It does look better, and overall I do like the overall form of the iPad 2 over the Playbook, so the iPad 2 does win the design category. Let's go and take a look at the displays on both of these devices. Now, as I mentioned before, the iPad 2 does have a 9.7-inch screen, and that has a resolution of 1024 by 768. Now, the Blackberry Playbook does have a 7-inch screen, and it does have a smaller resolution of 1024 by 600, but it does have a greater pixel density. So it features 182 pixels per inch, and that's versus the iPad 2's 132 pixels per inch. So when you actually look at both of these devices, you sit them down on the table, start playing some HD video back on both of these devices, you're not really going to tell any difference. They both look absolutely amazing. I love watching the any type of video on either one of these devices, and also to holding these devices at different angles. They're just about the same. The iPad 2 does have the IPS technology, but I hold the Playbook and the iPad 2 side by side, and I really just can't tell the difference between the displays here. So they both are excellent displays, and this is a tie. And now we're on to the cameras. Now in a second here, I'm going to give you some video and still samples from both of these cameras on these tablets. But let's go to run over the specs real quick. Now the Playbook does have a 3 megapixel front facing camera and a 5 megapixel rear facing camera. And both of these cameras, I say again, both of these cameras record in 1080p video at 30 frames per second. Now the iPad 2 does have a front-facing camera which is VGA only, and also it has a rear-facing camera which records in 720p HD video at 30 frames per second, so no 1080p here. I just love that sound. But anyway, guys, so here, the best way to actually see how both of these cameras perform is going to take a look at some samples. All right, guys, so right now we're doing a video test. The first video I'm going to show you is coming from the Blackberry Playbook here, and this is the rear-facing camera. And I'm not here at the normal lake that I normally do these videos at. It's some type of abandoned water plant or whatever. Anyway, just go ahead and see. We got a few colors going on here. A little bit of blue, a little bit of green. Got some outdoorsness. And I'm just holding the Blackberry Playbook right on top of the iPad here. And I'm going to switch over to the iPad 2. And now we're looking at the iPad 2's rear-facing camera. Now, one thing I want you to notice is just the difference in the audio quality as well, along with the video quality. So you can see there is a considerable difference that the Blackberry Playbook does have the superior microphone. So those samples speak for itself. The Playbook just really blows the iPad 2 out of the water as far as the cameras. I mean, the front-facing camera on the Playbook is actually better quality than the rear-facing camera on the iPad 2, and that's just really a smack in the face of Apple, which really did put some bad-looking cameras when you compare them to the quality of the Playbook. They just look really horrible. And also to the microphone, hopefully you paid attention to the microphone as well. The microphone in the Playbook is just really outstanding as well. So the Playbook wins this category as far as the cameras. And now we have the pricing configuration portion of this little showdown here. Now actually the iPad 2 and the Blackberry Playbook are identical as far as the pricing for the Wi-Fi versions of their tablets. Now they both offer 16, 32, and 64 gigabyte versions, and the price points are identical at $499, $599, and $699. But the iPad 2 does step ahead because it does offer a 3G model of its iPad 2 on either AT&T or Verizon, so you do have a choice of preference. And also too, it does offer a different color as well. You can get the white iPad as well. So looking at the prices and configuration, the iPad 2 clearly wins this category. Now, side note, the Playbook will be getting 4G functionality later on in the year, but that's not right now, so we can't include that in this little showdown, so too bad. Now, what about battery life? Well, this is real easy and simple. The iPad wins. The iPad gets over 10 hours of battery life per use, and the Blackberry Playbook will get you between about 5 and 7 hours. So, iPad wins. Now let's go into the software portion of this showdown, starting with the browsers. Now the iPad 2 has mobile Safari, which is a very fast, nimble browser. It's about 2 to 3 seconds faster than the browser you'll find on the Playbook. And also the multi-touch gestures as far as pinching, zooming, and tapping to focus on a certain area of a website are very fast, very responsive, no problems at all. Just a really smooth experience as far as doing those type of gestures. Now it does have some type of tab browsing, even though it's not the best in the world. And as you'll see here in a second, I'll show you how that works in the Playbook. It does its job, and mobile Safari gets you where you need to go fast and allows you to view the entire web page. Since it is on a 9.7-inch device on the iPad, you can see just about the entire web page on any website without having to zoom in yet. So that's very nice as well. Now, as we move over to the Blackberry Playbook's browser, you'll find that, again, like I said before, it's not as fast as mobile Safari, but what I do like on it is that I love the tab browsing. It shows you a little thumbnail where you're trying to go. If you open up a new tab, it'll bring up your favorite bookmarks that you have preset there if you wanted to. And also, this browser does a really good job with Flash. It does play Adobe Flash right out the box. And I have to tell you, this is the smoothest, best experience of Adobe Flash that I've seen on any mobile device. I have no issues at all watching live streams or watching YouTube videos at all. Everything played just fine, even when I went to full screen and even when I chose the HD option as well. And so the Flash on the Playbook is great. It's awesome. The multi-touch is not as smooth as what you'll find on the iPad 2, but it's not that bad either. And just as far as getting into the settings of the Playbook's browser, you can do a lot more as far as customizing it a little bit. So I like the Playbook's browser, but I think the best experience for a browser on out of these two tablets here is going to be in the iPad, because it's just a faster, smoother experience for you guys out there. Now let's go over the applications for both of these devices. Well, I don't really need to go over them. You probably already know the answer to this category as far as who's going to win, and that is the iPad 2. It has more application. Also, it does have the best application. Now, whether that's because it has a 2-year head start or whatever, that doesn't matter. It doesn't make a difference. It does have the best applications over the Blackberry Playbook. But I am excited to see that the Playbook did have a good number of applications at launch. I mean, I think it had, I don't know, maybe over 1,000. I'm just doing a guess here, but it had plenty of categories and they were filled with applications, so that's a good sign. But those applications, as far as quality-wise, weren't the best, and that's the problem with it. But it will be able to run Android applications probably later on this summer, which is definitely going to help not only the amount of applications, but also help bring up the quality a little bit up to standards. But for right now, the iPad 2 is the #1 source for applications as far as running the best applications and the most to choose from. And now we had our last category of this showdown. This is the OS, the operating system. Let's go and first take a look at iOS on the iPad 2. And this operating system is very simple, very easy to use. Anybody can just pick up this OS and go, whether you're young or old. You have your home pages there, your multiple home pages with all your applications. You can arrange this application if you want to, drag and drop them into a folder to organize them a little bit better. The way the multitasking works, double tapping on the home button, it'll show you all your open applications, even though they're kind of frozen in state, unless you're doing one of the allowed APIs like playing music in the background. But this does help preserve the battery life. So this OS is really good about keeping the performance at a steady level and also preserving your battery life, which is always good for a tablet or any type of mobile device. It comes preloaded with applications like Photo Booth, a mail application, a calendar application, video chat application. It comes with just with the standard things that I think everybody who buys a tablet for the first time will want to use. And another thing, it is very secure. Don't have to really worry about a lot of things as far as security, but since the App Store is vetted and Apple does make sure all the applications that go to it for this OS are going to be running the right way, or should be for the most part. Now, one thing that's bad about iOS is there's no really customization to it, and you can't really do anything like adding widgets or changing a lot of the things if you wanted to. That's where jailbreaking comes into play, but right out the box you just can't do those things. Let's go to take a look at the Blackberry Playbook, and what we have here is just really a breath of fresh air. This is the Blackberry tablet OS, the first time we actually seen this OS on an actual device, and it takes great advantage of the multi-touch gestures, especially using the bezel on the outside of the screen to be touch sensitive. You swipe up from the bottom, it'll bring you to the home menu or just the main screen, no matter what application you're in. And also you swipe down from the top, it'll bring up the menu. Again, depending on what application you're in, that menu will be doing different things. And also, if you're in an application, you can swipe from left and right, and it'll go to the next application. And this is just another look at the multitasking on this tablet OS, which is just awesome. At the home screen, you'll see all your open applications, and they'll either be running, or you can choose them to be frozen in state, just like iOS does. And so you have an option about how these multitasking behaviors are going to work, depending on if you're looking to save battery life, or you're looking at performance, or you're just looking to have everything running. It's like playing HD video or playing a game at the same time. You can do it if you want to. It doesn't make sense, but the tablet does have the power, and the OS is well designed to be able to do it. And you can organize the applications around on the home screen, and it's secure. It has enterprise features in there, especially for people going to be in the corporate world. You can sync this up with a BlackBerry phone and do BlackBerry Bridge. Now, this brings us to a bad part about the tablet, the BlackBerry tablet. It doesn't have any native applications as far as email, calendar, video chat applications, or text, or like note-taking applications. Just really stupid it doesn't have it. You can get them if you have a BlackBerry phone, but if you don't have a BlackBerry phone, the tablet doesn't have it. Now, RIM said they are going to be bringing those type of applications in a future update here, probably in the summer, but for right now, it doesn't have them. Doesn't really make sense. But another cool thing that the tablet can do, though, you can sync this wirelessly with a Mac or PC. You don't have to hook it up via USB if you don't want to, but if you just want to hook it up via USB, you can drag and drop information off of there. It just shows up as a shared drive. So overall, I want to say 100% that I actually think that the BlackBerry tablet OS is more advanced, is fun to use, and is more organized than iOS. It just has a lot more features, just makes sense. I find myself on the iPad too sometimes trying to swipe from the bezel, thinking, oh hell, I'm not even on the Playbook. But I like the BlackBerry tablet OS right now over iOS, and we'll see what changes with iOS and iOS 5.0, but for right now, the BlackBerry tablet takes this. Okay, now this brings us to the end of this showdown here. If you've been keeping track here, the iPad 2 does win this battle. The Playbook definitely held its own. It's an awesome tablet, especially being the first go from RIM, and it's great for, I think, a lot of things that a lot of people can pick up the BlackBerry Playbook and they'll be just fine. But the one thing that the iPad 2 does better over the Playbook, and the main thing is actually the applications. I think that's one of the biggest selling factors of a tablet, because a tablet isn't a necessity. And I think the applications are going to be the one things you can be doing that's fun. The games, Hulu, Netflix, all the stuff. When I went over to the Playbook and they didn't even have a Twitter application, I'm like, oh my God. But again, both of these tablets are really awesome. Same price point for the most part. And I think that anybody will find any one of these tablets a joy to use and really find a lot of good use out of them. So anyway, that's just my opinion on this whole little showdown here. Please leave your comment down below about what you think about this battle. Was it fair? Did I pick the right winner? Or who do you think is better? Leave a comment down below. And thanks for watching, guys, and I will catch you later. Peace.